Hi, I'm Starborn. Remember to be a star. You need to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. First of all, I want to wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I really hope that wherever you are and whatever you're doing, that you're enjoying this holiday season. And I hope that you can get a good rest as well. Wouldn't that be nice? If you have been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, since this is Christmas Eve, you would know that the title of tonight's show is Limits. And that simply is inferring to the fact that, there are always limits on things. And no matter how much you're planning for the new year, maybe you should sort of make a little list of some of the things that could limit you as well, so that they don't show up as a surprise. Or maybe it's just better to to have a little extra money in case there's something that is rather limiting in your plans. And the reason why there are going to be limits is because of the way the planets are set up. First of all, a good time, maybe not today, Christmas Eve, or tomorrow, Christmas Day, but coming right up, maybe you could sit down and think about your business goals for next year. And the reason why is because the exalted moon and Uranus are in Taurus, a fixed financial sign that is associated with business because it's an earth sign, and they are trining three other planets, the Sun, Mercury, and Pluto in Capricorn. And that's great because that's half of all the planets in the heavens. Together, those 5 planets are also trining the sign of Virgo. And so this is a good time to be detail-oriented, or to plan for some sort of step-by-step schedule. In other words, it's great to have a goal, but where's it going to fit into your schedule? You better figure that out. And also your budget. Maybe your budget is a little bit small right now at holiday time, and maybe there is a way that you can add to it, or maybe save a little bit more money in the coming months, and that would pay for your plans in 2021 as well. But the reason why I'm saying there are limits, even though there is a lot of good emphasis on practical decisions right now, and in a way that also means you could be thinking about your retirement, that's what Capricorn rules, or you could be working for a large company or a government agency that is planning next year's budget or staffing needs, and they could be making adjustments as well. But that is all rather well favored right now because of these 5 planets and earth signs that are in such good aspect to each other. However, there can be problems or limits, and there are 2 or 3 of them that you should be aware of. The first one is that among the cardinal signs, there are 4 planets now that are squaring each other. Now, during the summer and even this fall, there were many more planets in cardinal signs, giving us a lot of trouble. So now we're down to 4. But there's one group that is really could cause a problem right now, because Mars is in Aries, and it is at 24 degrees of Aries, and it is exactly squaring Pluto in Capricorn at 24 degrees. So that square is very harsh and exact. And then that Mars is also squaring that Sun and Mercury in Capricorn. So then those are the 4 planets. Well, Mars and Pluto are the rulers of Scorpio. Scorpio rules taxes, credit, debt. It rules loans, and it rules other people's money or money coming in from any other source. So it doesn't exactly rule your paycheck, but if you won the lottery, it rules that because that's coming from a different source. And so it rules, as I said, credit as well. And anytime that there is any change in the cost of something, generally costs do not go down, they go up. And so there is a problem with Mars and Pluto squaring each other, because it simply means that there can be a question about financing, or there could be some sort of hesitation about credit, or there can be some tax problem coming up, or there can be some sort of dilemma about an inheritance or insurance proceeds or even insurance payments. So all of those things can represent plenty of opportunities, but also a lot of drawbacks or setbacks. So that's a limitation that you better count on in one way or another, because Scorpio's rulers are so exactly and harshly aspected. Another limit can simply be that the planets in Taurus, which are Uranus and the exalted moon in Taurus, are beautifully trining the 3 planets, including the sun in Capricorn. But Uranus is a very volatile planet, and the moon, which is exalted in Taurus, is also a very emotional planet. It rules women, and it rules our homes and our families and our feelings. And it rules, when it's in Taurus, it's exalted because Taurus is the sign of the good provider. So there may be some sort of heavy-duty concerns that you have about the cost of your home, or the taxes on your home, or the utility bills connected to your home. And those can limit your budget in one way or another as well. And so you have to be a little bit careful right now, sort of not to overspend or not to abuse your credit in any way, because that could sort of come back to bite you later on in the form of limitations that it can put, further limitations that it can put on your budget. So you might want to watch that too. Another reason why there can be limits right now is because Neptune in Pisces is squaring Venus in Sagittarius right now. And when Venus and Neptune are not in good aspect to each other, but are in harsh aspect to each other, it simply means that there can be some insincere people around who may be encouraging you as when they speak to you, but who are, in other words, they can say, oh, I want you to be successful, but behind your back, they're hoping you fail. Okay, so they're not too sincere at all, are they? Well, those people are around. They can even appear to be loving and kind, but they're not necessarily. And so, you should start to think that talk is cheap. And if there was any real sincere feeling that someone had for you, they would probably show you that. And then you would have your proof. That would be fine. But just taking somebody on their word right now, particularly if they had been known for doing a few things behind the scenes secretively, then that may not be the person that you want to trust, and that could be a limit, not only on your relationships, but just on the way you do business or who you interact with. So you need to think about that too. So yes, I want to wish you Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, but just remember there are a few little limitations out there that you need to be a little bit cautious about. Okay, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Aries, for you, it simply means that with Mars in your sign squaring all those 3 planets in Capricorn, it simply means that, oh, you got your work cut out for you, Aries. And probably you'd better develop a little bit of patience, because there is the possibility that things are not going to go quite as you had planned, Aries. Now, part of that could be due to something like the weather. I mean, it's beyond your control. You can't do anything about it, but it could certainly delay the plans that you have made for right after the holidays. And the reason why you're sort of up against it is because Mars in your sign is exactly square Pluto in Capricorn, but it's also squaring the Sun and Mercury in Capricorn as well. So, I mean, that's a lot of strength in that sign, which is fortified by the exalted moon and Uranus. There's 5 planets in Earth signs. And so I think, actually, Aries, this would be a better time for you, even though you have a very fearless spirit, it would be a little better time for you to step back and more or less give up on something right now. Not because you're not popular. I think you are. Mars in Aries in your sign is trining that Venus in Sagittarius. So I think you are pretty popular right now, Aries. But you'd better give up on trying to buck the system or control the system or question the system in any way. And the system could have to do with your job or some sort of government policy. I don't think you're going to win on that, Aries. So this, just as timing goes, it would be better for you to back off a little bit right now. And, you know, there's if you can avoid defeat by retreating a little bit, that would seem to be a wise thing to do. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Taurus. This is a time when, boy, you can be electrified, Taurus, or you can be highly inspired. And the reason why is not just because it's the holidays, but because the exalted moon and Uranus, that planet of sudden surprising change, which rules the future, are both conjunct in your sign, and they're being beautifully backed up by the Sun, Mercury, and Pluto in Capricorn. So I would say, Taurus, that if you have your mind on something pretty expensive, I think you can probably afford it. Oh, that's good news. Have a wonderful Christmas. But also, if you have been thinking and planning and working and saving for some sort of long-term plan, Capricorn rules pensions and retirement funds, you could be delighted with the way those are growing, and you could be delighted with the value of your investments right now. Remember, it's the Sun is also in Capricorn, trining the moon in your sign. So I would say you can be pretty satisfied with how you've been managing your money. And Taurus, since your sign is the sign of the good provider, you probably are being rather generous to your family as well. After all, you work hard. You deserved it, and you have a right to spend your money any way you want. And since your sign is ruled by Venus, generally you spend your money on the people that you love, and you know they love you for it. So have a nice holiday. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Gemini. Your sign rules versatility and adaptability and change, and it rules too of everything, and short-term or temporary projects. So you might be just running around like crazy and very busy right now, Gemini. And that's fine. But you know, there are other planets that are sort of indicating that there could be situations around you that are getting in your way a little bit. And one of them is that your Gemini sun is being squared by Neptune in Pisces, which is very strong because it rules that sign. And that simply means that there can be people who have not been telling you the whole truth, or they're saying one thing in front of you and another thing behind your back. So I would say don't trust too many people right now, Gemini, not unless you have proof of whatever they're saying. And if what you have is proof that they're not telling you the whole truth, then what are you still doing with them? You should try to not be with them because they don't have your best interest in mind at all. And then Venus in Sagittarius is opposing your sun sign, which simply means that matters at a distance are going pretty well for somebody else, but possibly not for you. And so you have to be a little bit tolerant right now, Gemini. There is a solar eclipse coming up in your sign on June 10th. And that is a time when you are going to be able to make a fabulous new beginning. That's 6 months from now. It may take you the whole 6 months to sort of get yourself in gear for that, but that will work out quite well. It's just that I think there are limits to your friendships and your pals and your buddies. And you know, you've got to find out who's genuine and who's not. Because you need to move away from anyone who is not genuine and surround yourself perhaps with fewer people, but ones you can really trust. That's the way you should go into 2021. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer, this is a time when you can be really happy because Cancer rules the home and it rules the family and our feelings, and it rules women and it rules endings. And so this is the end of the year. And I think that, the holiday time is generally a favorite time of yours, Cancer. And also, you're a good cook. You like home cooking. And so I think that probably people are eating pretty well at your house, Cancer. And that is just great. So you should try to enjoy the holidays, which I'm sure you're doing in a sort of a simple family-oriented way, because it can really enrich your spirit. And that's important to you. So yes, I think you might have been working pretty hard through the holidays, but I bet you're enjoying it, particularly taking the pleasure in seeing that other people are happy. So congratulations, Cancer. This is a great time for you. And if I were you, I wouldn't worry about the other limits that I have been talking about on the show. Just concentrate on your home and family and sort of tune out everything else right now, because they are your real joy. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Leo. This is a time when you too can be very popular, and the reason why is that Mars in Aries is trining your sun, and Venus in Sagittarius is also trining your sun. You could enjoy visitors from a distance, or there can be people around from foreign countries that really like you. And you can also be interested in higher education or in a court matter, or you can be cheering on others that are involved in things like that. And you know, if you yourself are involved in some sort of legal matter, it may turn out pretty well for you, Leo, right now. With Venus and Mars trining your sun, that's pretty good. So it isn't your popularity that you have to worry about. It isn't even some legal matter that actually might go in your favor after all. But the thing you do need to worry about is finances. And the reason why is that the exalted moon and Uranus in Taurus are squaring your sun. Uranus is going to stay squaring your sun until 2025. At any time, the value of your investments can fluctuate wildly and suddenly. And, you know, you're rich one day and poor the next. That isn't exactly what a fixed sign likes, and yours is a fixed sign, Leo. So you have got to be real careful as you go into 2021 to make sure of where your financial base is, and stick to it. And don't let it be threatened by anything. Your sign also rules gambling. But believe me, from here on out, all the way through 2021, gambling is not going to get anybody anything. So if I were you, Leo, I would sort of batten down the hatches and make sure that everything that is important to you financially is secure. And if you have debt, it's a good idea to pay off that debt as quickly as possible, because that'll give you financial freedom. Even if your budget isn't very big, as long as you don't owe anybody anything, hey, you're going to do great. So I wish you the best at this Christmas time. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, this is a time when you can be extremely pleased with the way this year has gone. I don't mean that there haven't been limits or problems. I think there have been, and there's certainly going to be more of them in 2021, Virgo. But oh boy, there are 5 planets in Earth signs all trining your sun right now. Lucky you. And so the exalted moon and Uranus in Taurus are trining your sun, and the sun and Mercury and Pluto in Capricorn are also trining your sun. The lights are trining your sun. And so I would say, Virgo, that you're going to benefit perhaps from long-term efforts. In other words, there could be a long-term investment that is going to pay off pretty well for you. And if you just made an investment at a good price, that too could pay off pretty well for you. Or there is the possibility that through your own hard work this year, you have gathered some money that means you can afford what you need in 2021. So that's good. Virgos are not wildly extravagant spenders, but they like to be able to pay for everything. And so your sign rules accounting, Virgo. You're probably pretty careful at the money, and you are probably already thinking of your taxes for 2021 and how to set those up. So if that's what you enjoy, Virgo, you should just go for that, because after all, you need to sleep at night, and if you're not worried about your money, then no one else will be either, and that will be great. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, this is a time when I think that you can be anticipating some peace of mind. And yet it could be a little hard to come by, but not as hard as it's been in 2020. You really have had a pretty anxiety-prone, pressured year in one way or another. Even if you just stood still and didn't do a thing, you could have gotten blamed for it, Libra. It's been an amazingly contentious and challenging year for you, because there were so many planets in cardinal signs all squaring and opposing each other in 2020. That pressure is off you. Not completely, but a lot of it is gone now, Libra. And so this is a time for you to relax and enjoy the holidays. Even though Mars in Aries is still opposing your sun sign, that means there's still somebody around that wants to make a new start and do it all their own way. And you know, you got to quit listening to them, Libra. Just let them go do it. That way you don't have to worry about it. And the Sun, Pluto, and Mercury in Capricorn are also squaring your Sun. But that's only 4 planets. There were many more in cardinal signs in 2020 that challenged you. And so I think you're sort of like getting over the hump. Or I think that you're able to face 2021 with a greater sense of calm and sort of knowing your strengths a little bit better and more in control of what will make you happy. So congratulations, Libra. Whatever peace of mind you have as we start the new year, you have earned. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Scorpio. It simply means, since your rulers, Mars and Pluto, are in exact square to each other right now, it simply means that you better not take a chance with any money that you've got, Scorpio. In other words, don't gamble at all, but also if you have debt, you need to pay it off. If there is a loan around and it's sort of undecided, I would not do it at this time. In other words, don't take on more debt. Or if there is an inheritance, you're going to have to sort of carefully nurture that along. That something might go pretty slow with that as well. And there is the possibility that the value of your investments could fluctuate quite a bit. Now, if you were thinking of making a purchase and the value of whatever you're thinking of buying went down a lot, that could work in your favor, Scorpio. But you better take another look and see what the limitations are on something, even that is a good buy. Are there extra taxes? Are there extra expenses? Are there hidden expenses? Those could be around. So you need to be really careful and don't part with your money unless you're sure that it's a really good buy. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Sagittarius. Venus is in your sign. Are you in the mood for love, Sagittarius? You could be, and you could be very popular this holiday season because Mars in Aries is trining that Venus in your sign. Good for you. It could also be, since your sign rules traveling, that you are anticipating a trip. It may not be right at the moment. It could be coming up later on in the new year, but it could work out quite well for you, Sagittarius, because this is a month when we had a solar eclipse in your sign, and then we're having a lunar eclipse in your sign in late May, and then we're having another solar eclipse in your sign next December. So as you go through change in 2021, which you will do, Sagittarius, I would say, don't take any big leaps, which I think you might want to do. Fire signs sort of like to jump into things. But if I were you, I would take measured steps and make measured progress. And that way, at any one time, you're not betting the whole farm. And I wouldn't do that in 2021. So just take it slowly, one step at a time. And if you don't reach your whole goal by the next solar eclipse next December, you're going to come very close. And so you are going to be making forward progress this year. Just don't get in your own way, Sagittarius. Don't rush too much. There are limits. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, This is a time when you can be blessed with wonderful, realistic common sense. You could get the answer to any problem right now, Capricorn. And why is that? Because the Sun, Mercury, the planet of the mind, and Pluto are all in your sign, Capricorn, and they are being beautifully trined by the exalted moon and Uranus in Taurus. And so that simply means that you probably have your eye on something that might be a little expensive, Capricorn, but I think you can afford it. So I think maybe, just very quietly you should indulge yourself in purchasing something that would give you a great sense of pride. And that could be pride of ownership. For instance, if you decided to buy a work of art, it might make you happy for the rest of your life, Capricorn, so go right ahead and do that. Or if you were deciding to do something that was making a lot of common sense, like changing a hobby into a business, you could do that as well. You really don't have anything stopping you now as long as you concentrate on active business decisions. You can make them. As far as limitations go, the only limitation is that someone may want you to try to do something too quickly. And that would be because Mars in Aries is squaring the planets in your sign. So don't respond to that, Capricorn. Just do what you're planning to do. And I think that you're going to be successful at it, no matter how long it takes. It could take a whole year. It doesn't matter. I think you'll be successful. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, you're coming into a time when you're going to have to get real serious about things, Aquarius, because your Saturn and Jupiter in 2021 will be in your sign. That's fine. They have moved in there already. They just entered your sign, and they are now squaring exactly that exalted moon and Uranus in Taurus. I mean, it's a real crusher the way these two malefic planets, Uranus and Saturn in your sign, are squaring each other. And it simply means that, Aquarius, in one way or another, you are facing a financial challenge that you don't know how to solve. And the reason why you don't know how to solve it is because it might be beyond your control. It might be something other people are doing, but it impacts you somehow. And so there isn't a lot you can do about that. There's also a question of how much you want to participate. People can always ask questions. People can always get second opinions. But how much of that do you want to do when you are facing some sort of serious financial challenge? And yet it could be something that has a lot of good behind it, because the planets in Taurus, which are squaring your sign, are actually being trined by the planets in Capricorn, which are right behind your sun sign. If you did not go out and attack a problem, which I don't think would get you too far, and it might cost you a lot of money to do that, so I advise you not to do that, Aquarius. But if instead you stepped back and you began to sort of sniff around and investigate and get other people's opinions about what to do, that would leave you better informed and it wouldn't cost you anything. And so maybe you should take that route instead, because after all, there are limits. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I'm sure that you are a person that can be thinking high thoughts at this holiday time, but at the same time, you can have your mind on a relationship that is sort of moving out of your reach. And the reason why I say that is because Neptune in your sign is squaring Venus in Sagittarius. That means somebody else may want to take a long distance trip. They may want to go back to school. They may want to be involved in some sort of legal matter, even if they're only doing it as a volunteer. And if they're deciding to do that and it's a step that they think will lead them in a new direction, you could be encouraging them, because what else can you do? But at the same time, you may be hoping they don't make it. And so, you're sort of standing still when somebody else is wanting to make a move. And I don't know if that is going to get you anywhere, Pisces. Maybe what you should be concentrating on instead is not their business, but your business. Okay? It might be better for you and give you greater peace of mind if you filtered out what other people are doing and just leave it alone for a while and ask yourself what you want to do in the new year and how you want to act and what your choices are. We're all going to have to make different choices in 2021. There is no straight shot to success in 2021, but plenty of gridlock. And so this is a good time for you to decide what your limits are and how far you want to reach or how far you want to go. So do some careful planning, Pisces, but I don't think you need to talk to anybody about it, not at the moment. All right, thanks so much for tuning in. I hope that you have a wonderful holiday season, and I will see you next week when we are going to be talking about the new moons and the eclipses for 2021 month by month. Bye.